Hello and welcome to episode 122 of the Mouses Makes Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse, and this is my co-host Miss Poppy. She's back. She's still not very well. Not very well at all. And you can probably see as she's lifted her head there where she's got shaved under her neck for blood tests. I will start with the puppy health update because I know a lot of you come really to see Pops, not me. And she has been very, very poorly. So when I recorded last week, I was expecting a phone call from the vet with the results of her blood test. That phone call didn't come until the following day. The results didn't get back until so late that they rang the next day. Anyway, long story short, turns out that Poppy has pancreatitis. And I'm a little bit cross. I took Poppy in October to the vets when she started behaving oddly and was told, oh, she's just lost a fight with another cat. She continued behaving more and more oddly. So I took her back first week of January. And they said she's perfectly fine, perfectly healthy. I told you all this as this was progressing. Then took her back for a third time where they eventually did bloods. And discovered that she had very high amylase, which is a digestive enzyme, and cholesterol in her blood. And that indicated that she had pancreatitis, which is extremely painful and life-threatening, really, because she was losing weight. She wasn't eating because eating was so painful. So I was delivered a lecture by the vet that she must have no more treats ever. No dreamies, no cheese, no milk in saucers. Which I'd like to point out, I don't give her. My husband does. But I was the one that the vet had on the phone. And then she must have a special diet, a special food, which of course is very, very expensive. And in the short term, she had to have some medication, which basically was the cat. I'm sorry about the light. It is so dark today. I've got all the lights on, and so it is reflecting in my glasses. Yeah, it's the cat equivalent of Oromorph, basically, which was a bit late, bearing in mind she'd been in pain for 3 months, but okay. So yes, so now she has a special diet. We immediately stopped giving her all her treats and things, which we'd been giving more of because we'd been trying to encourage her to eat. We stopped giving her the treats, and even before we had the medication and the special food, she started to brighten up. She has come out from underneath the dining table. I don't know if you can hear her purring. I've not been allowed near her for weeks and weeks and weeks, and now she keeps coming up here and asking me to fuss her. So that's a huge change in behaviour. She's not sure about the new food. She will eat it. But because we have 3 cats, and we have one that has to have a very exclusive diet, and the other 2 can eat ordinary cat food, we've bought 2 microchip cat feeders. So the other 2 can have the same food they've always had. Poppy can have her special food. She can't get to theirs, they can't get to hers. And they're a little bit, well, Lily isn't. Lily, my fat cat, she doesn't care. She sticks her head, it's like a hoop. They put their head through and then the thing goes up like this and they can get to the food. And the minute they take their head out, it goes back down and closes up. She's not bothered by that at all. There's food in there, so she sticks her head in. She's not worried. But Poppy and Rocket are a little bit windy. So what we're having to do is something in my eye now. A few times a day, whenever she looks like she's looking for food, we take the dish out and offer it to her, put it back in. So she's eating a little more, and she's definitely feeling a lot brighter. She's been playing with toys. She was running about in the garden on Sunday with Dave. So yeah, she's definitely on the mend. But it is a lifelong condition that we're going to have to just change our behaviours with her to keep her well, really. So yeah. Yes, you're back, aren't you? Good girl. Go bed, go sleep. You want fuss? Okay. So I may not be able to show you much knitting today because apparently I have another job to do. I need to do my... I'll pause while I do this bit. Okay, we've come to an understanding. Yes, so it took me a little bit. I know it's boring, Pops. I'm sorry. I just got to do this. She's forgotten. Yeah, it took the feet out from under me a little bit, being told she was so very, very poorly, then getting a lecture from the vet and being asked, are you prepared to do what is necessary for her? That I forgot until several hours later that actually I'd taken her to the vet 3 times before they'd actually taken me seriously. And yeah, despite my best efforts, she'd been in pain for months. So I was a little bit cross about that. But hey, she's getting better, so it's all right. Anyway, the thing that I was meant to start telling you about today was the topping out mal. Somebody asked me on the Ravelry thread, which is it? And the answer is yes. It was originally called, and properly called, the topping out mal. I kept saying topping off. I've named the thread topping off. It doesn't really matter. Off, out, same difference. The prizes will only be being drawn from the Ravelry threads, so it doesn't matter. If you're hashtagging it, that doesn't matter whether you're getting it right or wrong. If you want Belinda and I to see, if you're putting it on Instagram and you want Belinda and I to see it, you need to tag us. So tag Belinda's Baubles, or amandajane.davies58 on Instagram. We will not be drawing prizes from Instagram because Instagram has changed the way it shows hashtags. It will only show you the top posts, so the ones that most people have liked. So it's not fair to draw prizes from there because we'll only see the ones that Instagram wants us to, not everybody's. So we decided we would draw prizes from the Ravelry thread, which is on the Mouses Makes page. There is a chatter thread, and there are prizes, or a prize, due to be drawn from that at the end of this month. So if you've got something that you want to share in there, get it done before the end of the month because we'll be drawing a prize. You need to watch Belinda's Baubles. It is linked below. Belinda will be announcing all the prizes. I won't be announcing any of them. So you need to watch her podcast to see if you've won a prize. There is also a finished object thread that prizes will be drawn from at the very end. So, excuse me, get your finished objects into there. If you can't use Ravelry, don't worry. You can email your entries to Belinda. Again, all the information is down below. If you can't email Belinda for any reason, you can email them to me and I will put them in the thread so that you are... Sorry, that was a message and it's directly to me and it stuck to my brain for a minute. Yeah, so that you're entered correctly. I think that was everything I needed to say about that. But yeah, you need to watch Belinda's podcast to see who's won prizes. Right, I have been concentrating on 2 projects this week. First of all, I dragged out probably my least favourite blanket to work on. Not because I don't want the blanket, I want the blanket very much, but the working on it I'm finding quite a challenge. It is the Star Flanket by Stephen West, and there's a pattern for it somewhere, but who knows where. Anyway, this is it. It's on a circular needle, so it's a bit hard to show you. This is the centre of the blanket. It's a big circular blanket. This is the next section out from the centre. I was here when I showed it to you either before or just after Christmas. I did a whip parade, I think. Or somebody asked to see all my blankets. Anyway, that's where it was when you saw it last. In a week, a whole week, I've done this much. And there's quite a lot of it. Each row takes me about 40 minutes, and I made the mistake on Friday when I was working on it of calculating how long just this striped section was going to take me before I get onto the next section, which is brioche, and 26 hours just to finish this section was the answer. I shouldn't have done it. I found it quite dispiriting and I haven't touched it since. So I'm going to try and get some work done on this. Short-term goal, get this section finished before next week's podcast so I can show you that I've begun the brioche. I'm going to do my best. The yarns I'm using for it are mostly Stylecraft Special DK. Excuse me. This one I think is silver grey. Warm grey, I beg your pardon. 1805. Gold. This one is charcoal. And then the cream, which is quite a warm, it's almost an apricot, is Hayfield Bonus DK in shade 0963. And it must have been subliminal, but I've chosen yarns that are very similar to the colours in the picture on the pattern, which I very rarely do, but I did like these colours together, and so I've ended up making one that's very similar to the sample on the pattern. But yeah, I've got another 2 gold stripes and another 3 grey, I think, to put in. 26 hours worth. I'm going to work on it today. I'm going to work on it for many days. Yes. If it weren't for the fact that I want the finished blanket so much, I would probably have given up and frogged it. I think I'm going to sneeze. It's Poppy's hair. I'm allergic to her white hair. I'm allergic to you. I am. See, having it completely avoided me for weeks and weeks and weeks, all I have to do is look at her now and she starts purring. It just melts your heart. How can I not fuss her when she does that? There are other things I'm supposed to be doing right now, miss. Just so pleased to see her out from under the dining table where she's been living for most of the last 3 months. Anyway, the other project that I've been working on, because I'm trying to be a bit more monogamous so that I can get these things finished for our topping off, out, whatever Mal. But also because I just want to get stuff done, and I've stopped in the middle of a row, which is very unlike me. And it's a wrong side row as well. Oh, that's very bad. Hang on, let me put stitch stoppers on. If I lose these stitches, it will be disaster. I didn't realise I'd stopped in the middle of the row. I never stop in the middle of the row. It's because we went out for dinner last night. It was Ewan's birthday. And he'd asked, could we go to an Italian restaurant in Yeovil for his birthday meal? He's lurking about on the landing. And I obviously must have been in the middle of the row when it was time to go. This is the Glittering Snowscape. It's Stephen West shawl. They're both Stephen West projects at the moment. And it is last year's Hyber Knit Along pattern. Where is my marker? Last time I showed you, I was... Lost it again. Where did it go? There it is. I was down there. So I've made a bit more progress on this than I have on the blanket. So I've done all of that in the last week. I am going to sneeze. Sorry. Sorry about that. And then when I came back, I nearly pressed stop instead of go again. That would have been a disaster. Well, it wouldn't really, but it would have been annoying. Yes. Where'd it go? There we are. So I've done all of this section, this section, this section, this one, and now I'm on to this one. This is the last, well, it's the last section. There's another set of these ridges, but this is the last full section before the border. So I'm hoping that by next week I will have finished it. The yarns I'm using are a mixture of mine and Little Mouse House. So this one, the yellow, is my own. This is Year of Yarn for August last year. Then this one is Little Mouse House. No. There it is. This one. The next yarn is mine again. This one, which was November. When I got to this section, you're striping those two last yarns together, so the Little Mouse House one and my own, and there wasn't enough contrast. So I went looking for, I had some left over of the October Year of Yarn, which was similar colours but darker and would have been a much better contrast. Now, a week or so ago, I went through all my yarn and I put things together that went together and had a bit of a sort out. Until I did that, I knew exactly where this leftover bit of yarn was. And now I can't find it. I spent a whole day on and off going, I wonder if it's in this drawer. I wonder if it's in that box. Cannot find it. So in the end, I thought I'll just have to go with what I've got. So there isn't as much contrast as there should be, but it does just make a textured section with the slipped stitches there. I'll have to be happy with that. It's annoying because if I could have found that yarn, it would have been so much better. It's got much more of this colour in it. Never mind. This colour is again Little Mouse House, and that together with the yarn that I'm using for the border, this one, the three Little Mouse House ones were a set collectively called Blood Debt. So this will go into the border. I think that's the only place this goes. And then I'll be finished. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the progress I got done on this last week. This section I really enjoyed. This lace up here, not so much. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, the lace is all over the place. It should be like this, but some of the sections are like this. Again, I'm just living with it. She's settled down. I couldn't face pulling it back. I pulled it back a couple of times. And I'm not the only person who's had trouble with this lace. I don't know what it is. I put in markers, which is what you do. If you're struggling with lace, you put in markers, don't you? And that made it worse, not better. I don't really understand how. But yeah, so I've got some areas where it's worked, some areas where it hasn't. Looking at it now, I can see that in these areas where I've got kind of a diamond, like here, I've just not got the yarn overs where they need to be. It is what it is. Anybody who's going to look at it, it's not like I'm entering it in some kind of competition. Anyone who's going to look at it and say, your lace isn't very good, well, they can just knit their own, can't they? Because this is mine and I don't care. Yes, so that's all the knitting I've done this week, really. My sock mojo has completely deserted me, so Dave's socks are not finished. I've done a little more work on my hat. I need to get that finished before the end of the month, ready for the shop update. But that's it, really. So, in the hope that I'm going to have my shawl finished by the time I see you next, that's the blanket I'm working on, I'm going to draw from my little pot of projects the next thing that's going to come out from the shelf of shame to be worked on. So, are you ready? I'm going to like fiddle about in there, and then I'm going to, not look, I need a yellow one. The orange ones are blankets. The yellow ones are other projects. Let's see. Let's see what has come out. Aha! Sonnenstunden Cardi. I'm going to find that now so we can have a look at it. I have returned from my journey into the shelf of shame. Can I put this here for a minute? Is that okay? Or is it going to make you cross? Probably make you cross. Right, this is the Sonnenstunden, or Stunden, I think is the correct pronunciation. Cardigan. I'll stop saying cardi, it's cardigan. And it's by Evgenia Dupilli, or Evie Knitwear. And I cast this on September, I think. I don't have a great deal done. I have this much. Not very much. I've knit 2. I've finished one. I've certainly got another one on the needles of the Sonnenstunden Tea, which is very much the same. It's a round neck. It's got these moss stitch panels at the raglan increases, and then the panel goes down underneath the arm, down the side of the garment, and the cardigan does exactly the same thing. So, and I'm knitting it in James C. Brett double knitting, and the colourway is SH09, which is, well, you can see. All colours I love. Let's not go there again. And I'm trying to see where the content is. Oh yeah, 80% acrylic, 20% wool. I've got quite a lot of this brand of yarn. I've got a sweater on the needles that I'm knitting in it, and Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit, who had also had a bit of an obsession with it but had got over it, has sent me some as well. So I'm going to make some cowls and Might even make a shawl or a blanket in sort of leftovers and oddments of it. It's really nice. It's really soft. It's got kind of a halo. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can. Just a little bit of a halo. It's DK, but I think you could probably get away with knitting it as a 4-ply as well, because it's quite a thin DK. This could go horribly wrong. Oh, I'm trying to show you it against a 4-ply, but I'm not really coordinating myself terribly well. Hang on. Come back. Right. So this is a 4-ply and this is the DK. It's just as well you don't come here for the professionalism, isn't it? Poor Pops. You can see just by looking at her that she's not been very well. She just doesn't look... She doesn't look her normal pristine self, does she? She just looks a little bit floofy. It doesn't help where they've shaved the fur. It makes her look a bit mangy. I know, you're not mangy. You're a beautiful girl. We all look a bit mangy when we're not very well. I know that better than anybody. I frequently look mangy. Yes. So I think that is everything I have to tell you today. Don't know that I'm going to get any cardigan work done before I see you next. I might. Depends when I get the shawl finished, whether I have time to get any work done on the cardigan. But yes, that's going to be the next thing to finish. So I've now got staff blanket out of the pot and the cardigan. So I'm going to put those on top. And there we go. Oh, do you like this? I don't think you can see it. Let me turn it. Let me turn you. My cousin got me this for Christmas. And I was really touched because she is a dog person. Very, very much a dog person. She doesn't like cats at all. Whereas I am both cat and dog. I don't mind. I just love my furry friends. So I'm going to go and I will see you next week with hopefully a finished stripe section on my blanket and some started brioche and a finished shawl. If not finished, then hopefully so close to being finished. And yeah, I'm hoping Miss Poppy will be back in her place, in her bed, feeling weller. No, not weller, that's not a word. More well. Feeling much more betterer, won't you? Yes, yes, I know. She's giving me love eyes. She's such a good girl. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to have a coffee and I'm going to start slogging through my staff blanket. So I will see you next week. Until then, happy knitting. Bye guys.